You're listening to the Survivor Sweat Podcast with Mike Buchmiller and Russell Rosenblum. If you're looking for strategy articles and just about everything Survivor, head to survivorsweat.com. Now, let's get to it.
Survival Sweat Pod coming to you from the Simply Vegas studio. Who are we? My name is Mike Buchmiller. This is Russell Rosenblum. Always is my partner in sweat. We were the 2022-23 Circa Survivor champion under the Gen Entry name. And we're still in. And
so is everybody else.
Everybody else.
That's not true. I think there's like one guy that picked Pittsburgh or something in Grandissimo.
Yeah, in the Grandissimo.
He's not left.
Somebody stuck their neck out on the old
I was
Pittsburgh
telling our friend
Steelers.
who I saw him for dinner last night who grew up in Pittsburgh, who's the, to say he's a Steelers fan is kind of quirky. He is a huge Steelers fan. He just always says they suck. And Tomlin is like the worst coach in the NFL and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, someone took the effing Steelers? What the hell are they thinking? And I go, well, we took the Niners. He goes, yeah, but that's obvious. And of course,
That's
because
obvious.
they won, right?
Of
So it's
course.
obvious now.
Always obvious after they won.
Exactly. You know
For
what he
sure.
said beforehand? After when he, because he knows the pick, because he has a piece of our entries. And you know what he said about it before the game kicked off? Yeah, nothing.
Hey.
Shh, silence. Wasn't a peep. If they lost, we were going to get the, how the hell, I didn't even look. How could you take the Niners?
Actually, that's not true. He did text during,
Yeah.
and he said, hey, remind me, what is my percentage?
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
And then he waited to the win and was like, okay, great. This
Exactly.
is fantastic.
Exactly, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, let's do the week 2 recap.
I think we just did. That was about it. Everybody won.
that's it.
And, yeah,
Well, there was a few that got scraped.
it's true. Well, they're the no picks. They busted
yeah.
as always.
1,180 hit the skids. So 9.36% of the entire pool.
I forgot to ask Benson. Maybe I did ask him this, the world's stupidest question. I'll
Yeah.
be annoyed. If you have no pick and everybody busts, like everybody tied, like literally everybody busts, do you split the pool or no? Are you done?
You're done.
I think you're done.
We discussed that last
we
week
did.
as it related to the special weekends.
That's right. If you had no team and everybody busted, yeah.
Yeah. 9.3% of the entire pool has been eliminated through week 2, including the 19 no picks.
Dude, there could have been 9% eliminated last year through week 2 on no picks.
100%. Absolutely. So that leaves us with 16,965 of the original 18,718 entries. In the winner take all, let's just say 18 and some change million. Because I think if you're winning 18,
Wow, you're finally willing to admit it's changed.
it's changed.
Yeah.
It's changed.
You got a tip, right?
Although-
The 700K.
Although
I'll ask Jeff. It's possible.
718,000 just doesn't seem like pocket change.
Well, it's funny because that's the change, and yet I think everybody in the pool would clearly go, I'll just take the change today. We'll call it a day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So not the carnage we were hoping for as the chalk continues to prevail. Last year, after week 2, there were 72.82% of the entire pool had been clipped after 2 weeks. And, they had nothing
crazy.
but the Bengals and the Ravens to thank. So how about the Cowboys sweat?
I don't know what you want me to tell you. For those that watch the Saturday Night Sweat, you kind of know our feelings on the Cowboys. For those that don't, you should. It's actually a lot of fun. But yeah, that was the team we decided to fade. David Baker decided to fade. A few people that we're all talking decided
Rachel
to fade.
didn't decide to
Rachel
fade.
did not fade them.
No.
Rachel was very happy with her pick there, and I'm sure she's going to point that out to David on Saturday, since David seemed to want to take a pretty big position on Pittsburgh. So she's going to.
Well, she did make a comment about his picks on Twitter.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I missed it. Mm-hmm. I can imagine.
Well, 10 had them in Grandissimo. So speaking of which, it's also been a slow drip in Grandissimo, as through 2 weeks, there have only been one entry that has been lost. And as we had mentioned, the Pittsburgh Steelers going down with the muff kick.
Yep.
And how about the returner? He just played it off, walked off, didn't even turn around, just didn't know the rule.
Yeah, you think knowing the rules is like kind of a baseline, and yet you see this in the NFL a lot, particularly on special teams where guys really don't know the rules. Well, it doesn't have to be special teams. It can also be a head coach that doesn't know the rules too. But not every head coach. It's got to be a very special head coach.
Yeah. And what's interesting is it all falls on the coaching. But what is the responsibility of the player knowing the rules of the game? Or
That's a good question.
Or are they just a pawn piece?
I think they're a pawn piece. But I mean, it sounds terrible, but I think put it this way, they're treated as pawn pieces.
Yeah.
So if they're treated as pawn pieces, this is what they're told to do. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to think that, I don't know what I'd like to think actually, but you would think the coaching staff drills him what the rules are, and maybe the player disregards them, forgets them, doesn't pay attention. He's playing on his phone when he's supposed to be watching tape. Like, I don't know, but it's also possible that the coaching staff assumes they know the rules and they just don't, teach them. And, it's, again, not to belabor this is not the only example, but you just didn't see that stuff often in a Belichick coach team, which leads me to believe it's coaching. I mean, the only thing I can remember that was an outright, baseline mistake was when in a Belichick coach team, it was in the overtime game where the guy didn't understand and accidentally said that we won't take the ball
on the coin flip.
Yeah, on the coin flip in overtime, and that was an error, and they lost. And I don't think it was a meaningful game for them anyway. It was late season.
And I believe the gentleman at the time owned up to it.
He did.
And and of course, so did Belichick, and he said, we got to do better.
Yeah, of course, exactly. But this should be, if you're taking a wide receiver and putting him back to return kicks, he should still know the rules, or you shouldn't be putting him back to return kicks. But I can get it. Like, that's not your primary thing in the film room every day with your coach. But when you are the special teams guy, it's just a baseline. It's not rocket science. It'd be like a wide receiver thinking, would I need 2 feet in bounds? What are you talking about? Like, this is my first year. I'm only in my 6th game. Like,
sure.
Like, if you asked guys in college how many feet you need in the NFL, everybody that plays college knows it's 2 I don't think you could find a wide receiver in college that didn't know the NFL was 2 feet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's a big deal for sure. Absolutely. So through the 2 weeks, looking back in 2020, which was the first year of the pool, 42.4% of the pool had been clipped through 2 weeks. In 2021, 26.8. 2022, 67.2. I remember that year very well.
too.
2023, 36%. Last year, as we mentioned, 72.8. So the fact that we're sitting here and only 9.36% of the pool has been clipped.
Which one's the outlier?
Yeah, definite outlier. But it also makes you think it's right around the corner.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, it's inevitable that I'm going to, confidently say you're not going to go the entire year and in this pool with, 11,000 people or something, right? So, it's going to happen. You just don't know when it is.
It's going to be some rough paperwork at the end.
Oh, my God, Benson, if he's got to do payouts for 11,000 people.
And their partners.
Talk about how much money they'll lose. They got to hire so many people just to push paper.
He's going to wish he got canned.
Oh, my goodness.
Although it's possible that might not be a tax liability because your win isn't too much. I'm not sure. That would be a question.
That's right.
That's just ugly.
Yeah, everybody just gets their money back.
That'll be the last year of the contest. He won't even run it anymore.
So, any surprises, takeaways from the selections? Was there anything?
Surprised that nobody busted.
Are there still too many teams being taken here? I mean,
well, of course. I mean, I guess you had 2 teams that weren't taken or something, 3 teams this week, something like that.
It was 30.
Yeah, I mean, the no picks aren't a surprise. I don't know. I don't remember what the week 2 no picks were last year, but I feel the number's down, especially as a percentage of the field. The field's bigger, and no picks are down, which is good. Yeah, I mean, it's bad for the equity, but it's good for the contest that people are.
We're getting the word out,
right? The more get your picks in.
Get your
that
proxy.
More people are understanding probably when they sign up what's involved, because I'm assuming that's how most of these no picks are created. They just don't understand when they sign up that what they need to do to get picks in. So that's actually a positive for the pool as a whole. Not usually surprised. I mean, in terms of, we discussed before figuring out our picks that between Arizona, Baltimore, Dallas, it should be 80% of the field or more, and that's kind of where you're going to sit, and so it's not really that surprising. Maybe I thought a little bit fewer people would take Detroit, maybe, but not. Maybe I thought Detroit and Pittsburgh might flip flop or something like that, but nothing hugely surprising up top. Maybe I thought a few more on Buffalo, but they have so much future value. Again, not hugely surprising in terms. I mean, yes, I'm surprised so many teams were picked, but at the end of the day, when you tell me you got 2 picks on the Giants out of 16, 17,000, it's immaterial. It could be somebody that just loves the Giants. It could also just be somebody that, for all I know, has 100 picks with partners, and he wants to take the one crazy outlier pick just in case there are tons of upsets and he's sitting there. I don't know.
I'm just surprised there's 2 more.
Could be somebody that took Dallas and the Giants.
2 remaining Giant fans.
That's right.
You can tell there's no more Titans fans.
Is Dable in the league? Maybe he's.
Oh gosh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So to Russ's point, at 4:00 on the Survivor Sweat X platform, we post our percentage projections of where we think the public will land, along with our selections for the week. For those of you that are riding along, you know that's where you're going to get your Grandissimo pick, and we reveal our selections. It was a little tricky. We had Ravens about 28 to 30%. They fell on 24.
Yeah.
We had Cardinals around 20%. They fell on 28. So those flip-flopped on us. And, surprising, yes, but in a way not so much because of the Ravens' future value and the fact that the Cardinals, they have one more spot that you might want to use them at home against Tennessee. But
well, if I look at it this way, maybe there are 1,000 people listen to the podcast, and if they hadn't, you'd have had 1,000 more in Baltimore, 1,000 less in Arizona, which would have
sure.
Because literally, this is what we've been saying all along. You got to avoid the chalk.
Yeah.
Blah, blah,
so we believe the pool's getting sharper. So if you're trying to, stay off the chalk, you're going to land on the Cardinals. That said, we had the Cowboys at 15 to 18%. They were at 19. Rams at 10%. They came in right at 9. And so those four teams together, we said 85 to 90% of the pool, and sure enough, it landed on 80%. So sometimes, you're never going to get this just perfect, but you're just trying to find where the public might land, and that might affect where you come underneath or over the top. And you can find some value and try to clip the remaining 17,000, 18,000, whatnot. And so,
or you can take lots and lots and lots of abuse for taking the Niners.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And so in our Circa main, we landed on the Cardinals, Lions, and 49ers. So not happy so much with the Cardinals. We did advance. Again, not a lot of future value. We get to pocket the Ravens, and a large percentage of the pool now does not have the opportunity to use them. So we do pick up some unrealized equity in doing so. And in Grandissimo, we took the Lions and we took the 49ers because we felt like things would be more top heavy over there, which it turned out to be true. Yeah. And so the majority of the picks were on the Ravens, and we were fading the Cowboys and the Cardinals there, along with the Rams.
And also, just between the Ravens and the Cardinals, you had roughly 60% of the picks. Right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then you had almost 75-ish, 74, 75%, something like that on those top three teams.
Yeah.
And so we don't have any of those top three teams. The chances all three teams lose are very low. Chances one of them lose is about, I think we looked, it was about 45% that at least one would lose. Of course, none lost. And but in the event all three did lose, I mean, geez, you're sitting there with 13, 14, 15, 16 entries left, assuming all the other teams do win. I mean, it's just such a great spot to be in.
Yeah.
It's, it didn't really work out.
On the Saturday Night Sweat show, Paul Howard over at VSiN was like going, who the heck would take the
He
Niners?
came on late, and so he didn't hear us talking about the pick,
it was just such a softball feed. And they were like,
that's us.
It was us. And, we defended our pick to the best of our ability. And, people out in the Twitter universe, they weren't buying it. I know we took a lot of scrutiny for it, and that's fine. We're going to do that. And, and I feel like on some of our picks, when we do get that pushback, I feel like we're doing something right.
Yeah, that's true. And in fairness, I think we said this out there, but I'm not sure. I know we talked a bit about Purdy, being out, obviously, and Kittle, but it's mostly Purdy. I mean, Kittle as well. But, if Kittle and Purdy are playing, I don't know what the line is, probably 8. It's not
8.5,
right, something
9,
like that, right?
Who knows?
And so then we're not going to take San Francisco because everyone's going to take San Francisco, right? So it is what it is. But to your credit, Mike, I remember not only did you come back and say that you think the line moved too much, when you dug in a little bit, you said it looked like Purdy should be valued at 2.5 points over his replacement. And when you made the various line adjustments, the line should be at about 5.5, and it was sitting at 3.5, right? 3.5, and that's a big difference in the NFL. So you're picking up value just on that. And look, the fact that the game ends on 5 and you think it should be 5.5, of course that's a long run thing. You're not going to frequently be within a half point, but it's still, I mean, that's just the reality of it. I mean, San Francisco it was only late that there was even a real threat.
And again, like it's all in good fun. And we did some quick back of the napkin numbers, at least I did afterwards. If the Cowboys in Grandissimo now, if the Cowboys and the Cardinals go down, there are 40
teams that were close to losing. I mean, the Cardinals were sort of quasi-close. Dallas, I mean, lost. I don't know what the hell. I don't understand how they actually won the game.
Yeah, I mean, for all intents and purposes, yes, they advance, they win. But if you were a Cowboy backer, you thought you lost. And
we had a Cowboy backer watching the game with us. He had the Cowboys in Survivor, and he walked away. He congratulated, walked away.
Yeah, he was just hot. And then add the late rally by the Panthers, and they were down to the final drive. If they find the end zone there, it's a game of ifs.
I mean,
of
2 or 3 more personal fouls in the last drive, they have a shot.
But we would then go from 69 to 42.
Yep.
Mind you, out of 42 of those, 2 are us. Okay, right. So we would be down to 40, and the fact that Baltimore was so heavily taken, it would have left only 16 individuals, including us, so 14 other than us, that could take the Ravens. And a lot of those have taken the Eagles,
right,
which we have not taken, and one took Buffalo. So you take the Eagles, you take the Ravens out, you take a Buffalo out. We're not close to the finish line, but we're in a pretty damn good spot.
Yeah, you're in a great spot.
Yeah, and of course the Niners have to win, but at the end of the day, you have to take some of these positions to get through the masses.
That's right.
So, it's easy to sit here after the fact, but if you were to watch the Saturday Night Sweat show, in my mind, win or lose, I felt like the process was correct.
As I said on the show there too, like when we looked down and we saw a bunch of people on Arizona. On Arizona in the main. Like we were and we said at the moment, we were wrong. We failed effectively, right? On that, and with respect to that pick, we failed. That's not where we wanted to be. When we looked down and we saw 1 on the Niners, we succeeded. Even if the Niners lost by 30, right? I'm fine with the analysis and going in there. And I think, I can't remember the number I gave. If it turned out that 5 or 7 were on the Niners, we failed.
Yeah.
Is a disaster.
I think you said 7. Yeah.
7, yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm saying 30% will be on the Niners, but if it's 7, I mean, it's an outright failure. There's no point in picking them. I think the number we gave was something like 1.5 or 2. That we thought there might be one other person that might have the same thought process and land on the Niners. If I had to guess, and I'm obviously just speculating, I would guess of a field of the other 67 that aren't us, or 66. Well, no, 67. Nobody was out yet. I would guess there are probably at least 5 to 7 of the people out there, not more, that at least had them on their list to consider, and we're like, this could be a good spot, and then like I can't push the button, right? I just can't do it.
It's not an easy thing to stomach.
And in fairness, in week 1, we didn't make terrible picks, but I don't remember a specific team we were afraid to push the button on. It wasn't like a specific, I won't push the button on this team. But I remember we left that, and we said it, I believe, last week on the pod, where we knitted up a bit. And we took a team that I knew they were going to be widely taken.
There just wasn't a lot of landing spots in week 1.
But it really bothered me. And it wouldn't have mattered. Whoever we had taken, the outcome would have been the same because everybody won, whatever. But we would have saved them. That would have been nice.
Yeah.
But the reality was, we looked up and said, like, can we bring ourselves, with investors? It's actually harder. Some people think that, and it varies by the person, but some people think, well, it's other people's money, you don't care. And we own a substantial portion of these things, first of all. But for me personally, and I know for Mike as well, even though we try to tune it out, if it's just us, for me, it's exponentially easier to just push the button on the Niners. It's just us, right?
Yep.
And we overcame it. We still pushed it knowing there are other people, but you don't want to have other people going, what'd you do? Like, I trusted you with this, and but you trusted us with it, so we're going to go out and make the pick to the best of our ability.
At the end of the day, the fact, the trust in me, I cannot do them a disservice. I have to play this, and I don't take it lightly, but I have to play this the way we play this.
That's correct.
And so we will be out there sometimes, and sometimes we'll be on the conservative pick, and there's other times we're going to be underneath, and
sometimes we'll misread the board.
Yes,
we'll think that the picks are going to be one way, they go a different way.
But you're going to get our best, and I'm going to do the best we can. We're going to do the best we can to give us a chance to win this thing.
That's right. And to be clear, and I know that should be clear for anybody that's done this more than just this 1 year, to win this thing, not to just be sitting there in week 12 with 18 people and no good picks left, right? Like, the goal is to win. The goal is not, I know it's called Survivor. The goal really isn't to just survive. The goal is to outlive other people, which means you have to live, but they have to die. If they don't die, it doesn't really help you at all. Like, look at this. Who's like, we have 1 pick. What's the equity in Survivor? 1 pick busted divided by 68 people. So it's 100,000 by, what's it, like $1,300 or something like that? Right?
Yeah.
That's sort of the equity everybody's picked up. So congratulations. You put up $100,000 probably a month ago, give or take, maybe a little more depending on when you bought in, right? You've now lasted 2 weeks, and you've made, if you could cash out at it, you made $1,000. You made like 1%, 1.3% on your money. If there was juice, you wouldn't have made any money probably, right? So, So what? So you actually, that should be very insightful to look and go for anybody that looks at this and goes, do you really feel that successful having made $1,000 in
there's not going to be any deals here because Sean Perry's in this one.
Right. Well, for the moment.
For the moment. All right.
Is he the guy that took the Giants? No, wrong pool.
Speaking of past champions.
He's not a past champion.
No, he's
You were not speaking of past champions.
No. Speaking of last champions. Nick, where did last year's champions land? It always intrigues me to see where they land.
They firm. Let's see here. We got C3 picks, 10 entries alive. They did 4 Ravens, 4 Cardinals, 1 Rams, 1 Lions. We got Dream Stakes, 10 entries alive for them as well. 4 Cardinals, 4 Cowboys, 2 Ravens. We got the Meatball Brothers with 9 entries alive. 2 Cardinals, 2 Cowboys, 2 Niners, 2 Lions, and 1 Ravens. We got Pumba Pack, 9 entries still alive. 2 Cardinals, 2 Cowboys, 2 Ravens, 1 Bengals, 1 Dolphins, and 1 Texans.
Yeah, let me go ahead and adjust that. They came in with 9. They now have 7.
Okay. Got it. Vodka Johnny.
Vodka Johnny. What a name.
Survivor
You're still
Sweat
torn
exclusive.
between him and the whiskey business.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
your favorite name.
10 entries. 4 Cardinals, 4 Cowboys, 1 Rams, 1 Chargers. Whatever y'all want. 10 entries alive. 6 Cowboys, 3 Rams, 1 Ravens. Whiskey business. 10 entries alive. 6 Cardinals, 2 Lions, 2 Cowboys.
Man, whiskey business and whatever y'all want.
Yeah.
We're sweating that Cowboy game.
Yeah.
6 each on those, yeah. But, you look and they're sprinkling around. They didn't.
I love it.
They didn't lay the wood, and
No,
they're
we're also
trying.
assuming, we don't know. I haven't
Yeah,
asked.
they
and
could
if
have,
they-
yeah.
Right, they could have partners. Again, if you pick one of our entries and one of my names, one week you could see all 10 on one, but we've got partners with other people and other names. It's just hard to know for sure.
These are just the screen names
Exactly,
that they won
of course.
with last year.
Right.
Sure, for absolutely, but you kind of get an idea,
Of course.
of their tree and how they're trying to create different paths, and they're giving themselves outs so that if the Cowboys do go down, they got the Rams and Ravens, they got the Lions and the and the Lions and the Cardinals, and all over the place. So, it's just it's really good to get into the brain and try to analyze the pick structure, and so just fun.
Yeah, I see the vision.
Yep, really cool. All right,
And note, like you said, none of the champs did have, at least from what we can see, they didn't have, just 10 picks and lay all 10 picks in the Cowboys or all 10 picks in the Cardinals or all 10 picks anywhere. I'm sure there were people in the pool that did, just not ex-champions.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely.
Sure.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for week 1. We'll look ahead to week 2 and try to figure out where the best landing spots might be.
Yes, sir.
Back after the break.
Couldn't have imagined that it would happen. To be here today and collect this check.
This is amazing.
Do you have what it takes to win the biggest football handicapping contest in Las Vegas? If you live out of state but want to enter either the Circa Sports Millions or the Circa Survivor contest, you've come to the right place.
But do you not live in Las Vegas? There's a solution with Survivor Sweat. Place from anywhere in any of the biggest sports contests. Fly to Las Vegas and schedule an appointment to get signed up. Can't make it to Vegas? Just buy an entry form from the marketplace. Either way, submit your picks each week into the contest using Survivor Sweat Proxy.
Kudos to Circa, Survivor Sweat, and everybody else.
Once in a lifetime experience. Thank you.
With over $20 million in guaranteed prizes, you can sweat small, win big. Visit SurvivorSweat.com or call for more information.
Okay, we're back. Let's look ahead to week 3 here. Man, it does look like there are several teams with some high win percentages, win rates here, but it is a little tricky in terms of future value and special weeks.
Every week, people reach out to me all the time and they're like, oh my God, this week is so tricky. It's trickier than any other week ever. And it's like, okay, week 1, it has been, but it's also every week is almost always tricky in its own way. I don't remember the last week ever in this thing where it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it's like Tuesday. I'm like, yeah, it's just obvious. There you go, right? Because if it's not obvious, usually the team's the 80% favorite that's everyone's on. The only time it was obvious for us was the year we had the biggest favorite of the week, and of like 60 people, only 4 people had Baltimore left as the biggest favorite.
Yeah.
So that was easy, and then Lamar went out in 30 seconds or something. Yeah.
Well, it might get easy down to the end because you only have a few picks
Correct.
left.
Right, exactly. That's true.
But you're
That's
also
true.
happy to be there. So
Yep.
that said, here, Buffalo is the market has them at an 87% win rate. They are 11.5-point favorites. They're playing on Thursday. Quick turnaround here, and they are hosting the Miami Dolphins. They do have the largest number in future value at 4.8.
5.8.
5.8. Wow, that thing is
big.
rising. Okay.
Yep.
And so.
Well, technically, Baltimore's higher, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean. And
not this week. I'm just in general.
That's true. And it's showing that approximately, 25, 27%?
Yeah, I mean, something like that. Not taking into account people thinking about special weeks. Yeah, something. So might come in a little lighter, but something like that.
Right below them, you have the Green Bay Packers with the extra rest. Man, do they look good on defense.
Yes, they do.
And they're at the Cleveland Browns there.
They don't look as good.
They don't.
I'm sorry, on defense or offense or special teams.
So the Pack is laying 7.5 on the road. That might be a spot.
Does Cleveland play New Orleans this year? I mean, that could be a good game. I mean, not a good game, but
Garbage can versus garbage can.
They should play that game just so we don't want anybody to have this unfair home field advantage. Let's throw them in London or Mexico or Brazil
like Germany
or something.
last year.
Germany, sure. Maybe is there a game in Kuwait or maybe Ukraine? We can have them play there.
Yeah.
Send them.
I'm with it.
The Packers do play the Lions on Thanksgiving, which, I mean, the Lions bounce back in a big way. And, I'm not quite sure that's a warm and cozy spot right there. But, you do have to keep that in mind if you plan on making it far in this pool. Below them, you got the Seattle Seahawks, who were fortunate enough to get that bounce, and they're at home versus the Saints.
Speak of the devil.
Good old Rattler. And they have almost no future value.
Who, the Saints?
Well, yeah, the Saints.
The Saints, what a great spot for them. They're gonna
they
go
will when they get one pick.
They're gonna go from the southeast all the way to the top northwest to play in one of the toughest stadiums to play in. I guess it's not a short week. They have that.
Yeah, exactly. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see if Seattle gets bumped all the way to the top.
I know they probably could because I can see Buffalo coming down a bit, Seattle going up a bit. And I hate to say it, it still may not be a bad spot. This could be, I don't know yet. This could be one of those quirky weeks where the chalk is still plus EV. I don't know. It's early.
Yeah,
Question for you guys. Maybe new people. This is their first year of Survivor. This pool is really large. How many people do you think that the strategy is to just fade New Orleans?
A lot.
Yeah, you think a lot of people.
And especially now that you have Cleveland to face. Because always the problem when you're fading one team is inevitably, since you can only take a team once, right?
Sure.
And everyone's going to play their team in the division twice.
Yep.
So right away you got 3 weeks where you're not going to be able to take them. Let's assume the games that, New Orleans is on the is at home, right? The other team's on the road. So that's 3 games. Then you get a bye week. So that's minimum of 4 weeks. And if they were to play a team like Cleveland, I haven't looked at New Orleans' schedule because why would I? But if they are playing a team like Cleveland, that might be a week you don't want Cleveland either. There could be a couple games. So even when you have a strategy like that, you could have, minimum 4 weeks, but it could be 6 weeks. And it's rare a team really does go winless in the NFL. I mean, it's like twice or something. It's pretty rare. But when you now have Cleveland that's, debatably as bad as New Orleans, people now... assuming that the weeks work out, and they probably do, between those two, I think there'll be a lot of people that just go fade those two teams all year and decide which game they want between those two.
Yeah, my roommate was asking me about it. He knows nothing about football. I was showing him the Survivor Sweat numbers. He goes, "Is a strategy just to bet against New Orleans all year?" And I go, "Yeah, I guess
it
you
is."
could.
So when we discussed this, I can't remember, it was a year or two ago that everybody was doing that with Arizona, maybe, right?
Yeah, I think
and so part of the issue there that comes up, it's not on its face. On its face, a clearly terrible strategy, right? But the flip side is that when your strategy is successful, maybe you make it to the wire with 2,000 people. I'm picking a number. I don't know how many it is, but I'm going to guess 2,000 of 18,000 are probably doing something like that, right?
Totally.
Just guessing, speculating, right? So you make it to the wire with 2,000 people. Now you could say that's still a pretty big score, right? It's not terrible, but you're not always getting there, right? So for the few times you get there, you really don't want to split it up with 2,000 people, right? That's the thing, right? So yes, you might get there. It's the same thing. If you just pick the biggest favorite every week, assuming you could keep doing that and you map that out, like you don't avoid the chalk, you take the chalk, but you find a path that you can't always take the chalk and you're successful in doing it. You do, when I say avoid the chalk, I'm not telling you taking the chalk gives you a lower probability to win 20 games. Taking the chalk gives you a higher probability to win 20 games, right? But when you get there, you're there with so many other people that you're splitting with, right? So the goal at the end of the day, it isn't just to get to week 20, it's to win, yes, and to win with the fewest number of people possible. It does matter. I understand you could say it's $18 million. I don't care if I split it up with 2 people or I just get it myself, $9 million, a lot of money. Absolutely true. But what if you're splitting with 100 people or 1,000 people, right? Like it starts to really matter because you're just not going to get there very often.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Well said.
For sure. And to your point, Nick, yes, I've heard people talk about hunting specific teams, rookie quarterbacks, stuff like that. It does go into the matrix when you're trying to select, for sure. Below Seattle, you got a tranche of teams here. You got the Kansas City Chiefs, which we know are on 2 special weeks. And now they're going to have to play through the season, most likely, starting out 0-2. Some have them not making the playoffs with that tough schedule. But the Chiefs are at the New York Giants.
As he says, that tough schedule, and the Chiefs are at the New York Giants.
Yeah, not so tough there. But yes, you have to take into account that the Chiefs do play on not 1, but 2 special weeks. And then below them, Tampa Bay, Baltimore. Baltimore is always going to be around there. And then you start getting into the Falcons at Carolina Panthers, Colts at Titans, Washington versus the Raiders, and whether or not the quarterback's going to be healthy there. Daniels, who knows?
Yeah, that game becomes really tricky. It's almost like the San Francisco game last week. You're looking at a weird spot for the Raiders.
There are some small percentages on teams like Philadelphia versus the Rams, but I'm just not. I'm not. I'd be hard pressed to think that you get any significant percentage on there. Maybe it might be a good landing spot because of that. But
could be. Could be. I mean, the Eagles have a decent amount of value, not as much as you would think, being one of the best teams in the NFL. They've got a tough schedule too. I mean, look, the reality is in the NFL, I remember talking to somebody last week that they weren't putting this together, but most of you out there probably know this. The NFL's been doing this for years and years and years. When they take the better teams in scheduling, it's not a coincidence, and they put them up against the better teams, right? So if you won your division, every division matches up against another division generally for the year, but then they're going to take for the other games, they're taking the division winners and matching them up against other division winners, which also means people that tank their division are going to get matched up against the bottom dwellers of the other division. So the goal for that has always been to see more parity, but that's why you do end up with rematches of like the Eagles and the Chiefs, which is great for the fans, right? Like that was actually, I don't know if you saw this, it turned out to be the most viewed regular season NFL game and maybe forever. It was phenomenal. It's great for the league, great for the fans. It's awful for the teams, right? I mean, it is what it is, but this is how you can end up starting 0-2. I mean, you just get 2 tough games.
Hey, I see a spot I know our friend can stomach.
Oh, good.
The Pittsburgh Steelers at the Patriots.
I don't think he can stomach it.
I don't think he can stomach either. And I think that's about as far as you want to go down there.
Pretty much,
so, yeah. No, I think this ends up, this is early in the week, although Buffalo does go tomorrow. I think you're going to see Seattle climb. And I think you're going to see Green Bay stay right around where it's at. And maybe, just maybe, the Bills drop a bit. And but we'll see. It's still early.
I think the Bills drop just a hair because they're a little high at 26-ish. But you got Seattle, Green Bay, Tampa, in order of popularity, then sort of like Kansas City, Atlanta. But, this is, I think, going to be another classic week where a lot of people are out there going to say, no, I know, avoid the chalk. I know, save a guy. But this is the week we got to push the button. We got to do it. It's okay this week. We'll save it for next week, and they'll make some pick. I don't know what it'll be.
For sure.
But yeah,
and by the way, if you are going to take that Buffalo, if you're going to take Buffalo and you intend to make a pick on Thursday, the pick has to be in prior to kickoff.
You can't put it in on Saturday for Buffalo?
No. That would be nice. You might take the Dolphins. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
But I suggest doing it 10 minutes before. You don't know what the lag time is. Get it in.
Oh, and I'm not sure, and I should know the answer to this. I don't. If you are using a proxy, do you know when the deadline is to get it into the Survivor Sweat for a Thursday game?
Ooh.
We can add it in later.
I've never entered the Thursday games before. I've only entered.
You can find out. I assume you can pop it in, like type it in the bottom. Like I'll be saying it as if we knew the answer, but maybe by the time you publish it, can you type something in like a
I can put text on this video. Yeah, totally.
So this way they'll know because I should know. I don't know offhand, but that's because it's not going to be right at kickoff. Because you get it to the proxy, proxy's got to get it in, right?
And by the way, I saw this on the Twitter feed. Somebody reaching out to Benson. If they want to make a Thursday play and they have multiple entries, you don't have to submit all your entries. Every individual is individual of its own.
As opposed to the pick 'em the millions, where if you want to take the Thursday game, you got to get all your picks in on Thursday.
Yeah.
Which I think stinks, because that's one of the reasons we don't take the Thursday games often.
Not enough information.
So I might like that game, right, but I don't want to have to give up all the information I could get by waiting till Saturday for the other 4 games.
So just to recap, each entry is treated independently. So let's say you have 10 picks, 5 picks, whatever it may be, and you want to take 1 on Buffalo or 2 on Buffalo, you enter those picks.
And don't enter the other ones.
And then don't enter the other ones.
And by the way, just a reminder again, if you do enter the other ones, you cannot change them unless you're going through a proxy.
Unless you're going through a proxy. Another reason to have a proxy.
But when you're directly at Circa, once they're in, they're in.
Benson will tell you no.
Yes, no.
No. Yeah, for sure. And if for some reason your picks don't work out this week, you can head over to Survivor Sweat. And,
even if they do work out, you might want more picks.
That's right.
Yeah.
You might want to sell them.
That's right. The marketplace is now hopping, and now I know the current implied value is $1,103. So
yeah, but you can ask for like $1,150 or something.
It is like eBay. You could ask for whatever you wanted.
But just before we popped on there, there's 29 entries on the marketplace ranging from 1% to 99%. So if you're looking for pick control, I would head over there quickly as possible, because there was only 1 or I think 2 last week, James said on the Saturday Night Sweat, and they got snapped up.
Right.
But you can buy 1%, 2%, 5%, 10%, those type of things. So if you find FOMO and you're in another state and you can't get here and you didn't get a chance, you could still enter this contest and get a piece.
Right.
Very, very
Yeah,
cool.
if you want less skin too, you can look at the super contest ones as well.
Yeah.
That's true.
Possible.
Yeah, if you want to have the 5 picks per week in the super contest as well. But speaking of the Saturday Night Sweat show, which is kind of turned out to be quite a hit, we're getting, what was our viewers? How many views did we get last week?
We capped out at like almost 1,000. That was the best. And then we were averaging like over 800 on X.
On X, I saw the total was surpassed 11K in terms of viewership.
Yeah.
So really cool. We have some pretty cool guests with some unique backgrounds. And so, Nick, you want to tell us a little bit about our guests this Saturday?
Yeah, so we're going to open up the show with myself, Tony Farmer from Last Men Standing podcast, ODB, and then you're not going to be there, Mike. So we're kicking you out, and we're going to have Russ. So it's going to be us 4 opening up the show. Then we're going to have Jason Lisk from Team Ranking and Pool Genius. So he's going to be the new guest for this week. Then we're going to have Mrs. Rachel Arie, because we have to ask her about the Cowboys debacle.
Debacle? They won. She's fine.
Yeah.
She's getting her money's worth.
We're going to ask her about the mental debacle that she went through.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, well, that's a different, for sure.
Next guest is going to be VSiN's finest, Mr. Paulie Howard again. Looking forward to talking to him. And then Survivor Sweat creator James will jump on for a marketplace analysis, and then it's going to be us chilling and free flowing after that.
See what happens.
Yeah, super fun. It was great to have you on for the.
It was fun. A lot of fun.
And join us if you can. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend due to a prior commitment. That said, I will be on a round table in the future.
Who's going to be sideways this week on the footage?
Me.
Probably. If someone's sideways again, it could be you.
Yeah, so that's a good place to ask questions live. Hit us up throughout the week if you want to reach out to at M Buchmiller on X thread, at Rosenblum R, or always at Survivor Sweat.
Yep.
And don't forget to like or subscribe to the pod. And of course, go over to survivorsweat.com. Check out the tools that they got over there, fun articles. Very insightful articles, and you can see those on the X thread as well. And then, the marketplace, just such a great place. eBay for
degenerates.
Degenerates, such as us. Yeah. So that is a wrap.
By the way, I think it'd be funny if somebody tried to list one of their Survivor entries on actual eBay.
Yeah.
And eBay's like, what do we do with this? Like,
how do they write up the contract?
Exactly. Was it delivered?
You got an extra one. Russ, why don't you try it?
What, on the eBay account?
You should do
I'll put the Grandissimo on there for the 300K.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, that's a wrap for week 2. And looking ahead to week 3, get your picks in.
Yeah, everyone's getting them in now.
Yeah, I hope so. And we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Looking for Survivor strategy articles? Did you lose your last entry on a Survivor contest and wish you could rebuy? Check out our marketplace and you may find what you need. Head over to survivorsweat.com for all things Survivor. And we'll see you next week for the next Survivor Sweat podcast.